1 minute, you're wiping the bottom of your 2-year-old, and then the next, you're negotiating screen time with your preteen. Parenting a teen and a toddler at the same time can feel like you have like an emotional whiplash going on. It's not easy. Sometimes I feel like I have split personalities when I'm parenting the two. And that often happens when you are the parent of children with a wide age gap. So if this is you and you want to learn some techniques on how to bridge that gap without burning out while you're parenting kids with a bigger age gap between the two, stick around for this video. You'll find it helpful. If you're new to my channel, my name is Odini McBean. I am a mindful fatherhood coach, also the creator of the 365 Dad Journal. I pretty much help dads parent more mindfully. I help them build calm minds for themselves, not only as their roles as dads, but also as individuals outside of their role as a father. I help them build strong habits and just build that deeper emotional bond with their children. All right, so the first thing that I do to keep my sanity while raising a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old simultaneously is, drum roll please, ironically, I keep them together for everything the other is doing. All right, so that may seem a little odd if you think about the pretense of this video, but honestly, having the other involved in what the other is doing gives me an opportunity to watch them bond and to watch that special connection they both have despite being 10 years apart. And that's just a feel-good moment for me, right? So I know people who sometimes have kids in different age gaps and they kind of just, the one that's 14, they do this only. The one that's 4, they do that only, and they kind of only mix the two together when something is happening, a family thing that everyone is together. So for me, I don't do that. My son has a basketball game, my son has a basketball tournament, he has a basketball workout. I'm not only bringing my daughter with us, my daughter is actually on the court, she's involved. Sometimes she's passing the ball to my son, and I get to see how they interact together and their bonds grow that way. For those of you who may be new to this channel or new to my podcast or my story, I have a 14-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter, and they have different moms. So I'm a co-parenting dad. And sometimes I have the opportunity, to say, okay, this weekend I'm going to be with one and the other weekend I'm going to be with the other. But I initially chose not to have it that way, and I chose to have them together when it's my weekend parenting time. I have them differently when it's my weekday parenting time, but when it's my weekend parenting time, I'm like, they have to be together because I have to be able to witness this bond that they have together. It has to grow. If they were in the same house every single day, obviously that would just come very naturally, but because their time is almost limited, you would say, I wanted to make sure for those weekends I have them both at the same time, even if they're from different households. That's just been the best thing I've ever done because my son is the biggest and most expressive, emotional big brother to his sister. He just loves his little sister and she loves him back. And so I'm able to say, okay, we're going to go to this play park that I know my daughter is going to love the most, but I'm still going to bring my son because they get to interact and bond with each other. And so that's the first thing I do to keep me sane during all of this, is just having them do things together. It might sound a little weird, but it's great because not only do they occupy each other's time, I'm just so happy watching them build connections with each other. I'm just so happy watching them look out for each other. I'm so happy when they get into little mini spats and how they kind of come together and reconcile. So just for my sanity as a father, I'd say just keeping them involved in things that they're doing, no matter if it's more so something that the older one is going to enjoy more or the younger one is going to enjoy more. Just have them do everything together. So the second thing on my list is bridging the gap between unshakable presence and deep listening. So let me go into that a little further. Unshakable presence, right? That's self-explanatory. But the reality is they both need unshakable presence, just in different ways. But my younger one, my daughter, the 4-year-old, she needs that unshakable presence on level 10, as opposed to my son. What he really needs right now is obviously to know that I'm there for him in all aspects. I got his back. but he needs me to practice deep listening more than unshakable presence, right? Because he's getting older, he's going to be a little more independent. He's 14 now, so I don't need to literally latch on to him like I would for my daughter, but I do need to practice deep listening with him, because now he's getting to an age where he has more say. His emotions are bigger now, he's a little more expressive, he might not say yes to everything that I recommend. So that comes with a whole nother world of parenting, as opposed to my 4-year-old. All she needs from me is to literally be grounded and be present when she's doing anything, when we're doing anything together. So if we're making breakfast together, I cannot be on my phone. We're making lunch together, I can't be distracted. We're reading a book together at nighttime, I can't be distracted. Those little micro moments of unshakable presence, she needs that right now at this age more than anything. So now I have to bridge the gap of, I have to kind of cling on to one kid, but the other kid, I gotta ease back a little bit, but now listen to him very deeply, right? I have to almost make sure that I'm not forgetting that he needs some grounding and he needs some presence, but he doesn't need it as much as the 4-year-old. What he really needs is for me to understand him. And I think that is the biggest difference between the gaps, and you won't burn out if you realize that. The older one just really needs you to understand them. They're going through a lot. Their puberty is happening. They're discovering all types of betrayal and friendships and all types of crazy nonsense that never occurred for them. But now they have a whole set of different expectations of them. And as they grow older, all they really want is for you to understand them. It's for you to be able to say, yo, I see you. I hear what you're saying to me, and maybe I would have done it differently, but I promise you, I got you. I see where you're going with that. And the reality is, you probably do see where they're going, and you do see where they're going through. Put that hat on first and kind of ditch the hat that's like, oh, I'm the dad, and this is how it should be done. Why'd you do that? No, don't do that, right? Act like how you would have wanted your dad to act when you were going through something as a teenager. Put that hat on. Empathize more. And I'm not saying I'm like some amazing therapist and I do this all the time. Right? I'm human. I always have to say that in these videos because parenting is not a one-trick pony. But I always tell people, just be intentional. That's all, and they'll realize that. One time I was reading a book with my daughter and I was on the phone, like I was like scrolling or something on IG probably, which is ridiculous, right? But we all do it. And she called me out on it, right? She's like, Daddy, you're not even paying attention. She's 4 now. This might have been like last year. She probably was like 3. And she literally just told me straight up, you're not paying attention. And you would think that a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, that's not a big deal to them. But it is a big deal to them. And the reason why it's a big deal to me is I'm intentional about not doing that. So when the one time, couple moments I slip up and do that and I get called out for it, I'm the grown up, but I feel small. I feel like a kid. I'm disappointed. Like, oh man, the one time I scroll while, I'm supposed to be reading, I'm supposed to be having unshakable presence. This girl gonna call me out on it. Right? And so the trick is just bridging those two techniques and bringing them together, realizing the younger one is going to need unshakable grounding, unshakable presence, and the older one is going to need you to still acknowledge they need your presence, but put a little more emphasis on deep listening, understanding them more. Not always thinking you have the answers. Not always just going straight to the dad playbook, as I say all the time. So if you build a way to bridge those two techniques, I really feel like you'll burn out less. You won't go on these emotional up and downs because, come on, like sometimes I'm helping my daughter do something and then it's something that a 4-year-old will need help with. But then like my 14-year-old will like come right behind me and he's asking me to do something that I feel a 14-year-old should not be asking me, but I feel like he's being lazy or something, but I'm so caught up in what I'm doing for my daughter and now he's bugging me and I go right. And if they both were at like the same age, that's a situation that you'll probably handle a little different because your mental is kind of in the same state. But if your mental is in, something that you really have to do for a younger one, more time, more nurturing is going into that, and then your older one comes up and he's like bugging you to do something else, now your mind realizes like this is on two different spectrums, and that's how you kind of outburst at times. And so for me, what I have done, and you can ask my son this, I'm doing something with my daughter, he'll come up to me and say something that I guess he probably knows that like it will annoy me, and I just go like this. And I go, what do you need, Caleb? and he'll make that face like, you think you... And, but just taking that deep breath, just that, what's up, right? Because that alone, that's like you doing a mini version of regulating your nervous system. That helps you so much rather than just outbursting right away. So just understand the gap between who needs that unshakable presence and who needs for you to really practice deep listening as a parent. I think I had one more thing on here. Oh, I also was gonna say, when it comes to a gap, a lot of the times I hear people say, oh, my older kid is really jealous of the younger ones. And I'll be honest, I never had that experience. And I wanna go back to the first point. If you're struggling with this, I really think the key is just having them do everything together. Don't keep them separated. There are times when we're at my mom's and Caleb has a game, and I could easily just leave my daughter with my mom. Oh, stay with grandma. My nephew is here. Stay with Kaden. Stay with, and I could just go to the game with Caleb. 90% of the times I'm taking my daughter with me because they get to have that bonding experience. And the more they get to do things together and the more they get to do things of bonding, that emotional connection will just grow naturally. And the older one, in my experience, is not so, resentful and jealous because now they're not, all the attention isn't on them anymore. So I would say overall, the best thing for your sanity, if you're in that gap parenting situation, is have them do things together more and more and more, and understand who needs what, and try to bridge that gap between unshakable presence and deep listening. Thank you for watching this video. I'm very grateful. And if you know any father or any parent for that matter who may find this helpful, share this video with them, and I'll catch you next week.